going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Core Consults RX podcast. I have not Cole here today because Cole is on vacation with his family. Obviously, we've all seen his dedication at this point, so we're a little disappointed, but it's okay. We got AJ filling in, and we're going to have a pretty laid-back episode for you guys today. Just kind of pontificating, if you will, on our thoughts on this over-the-counter supplement product that I feel like has been doing some big numbers on in the sales department. However, we're going to kind of discuss its potential efficacy and give our 2 cents about it. This is just our thoughts, our opinions based on the available data. But we'll definitely make your own decisions, but we'll kind of just give you some summaries of some of the information that's out there. So, AJ, what are we talking about?
Talking about Prevagen, the mental stimulatory. Well, it's not a drug. What'd you call it?
It's a supplement.
It's a supplement.
It has to be a supplement because it's an over-the-counter thing with 0 FDA approval.
A nutraceutical, if you will. It's the active ingredient is apicorin. And so what that is a protein. They isolated it from a glow-in-the-dark jellyfish called, what is it, Aquaria Victoria?
Victoria, yeah.
Right, those are crystal jellyfish.
Luminescent jellyfish.
Really good. So the dosing that they take these capsules in starts with 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams, and 40 milligrams. And basically the big claim is what they are saying, that it helps with mental clarity, I think, and cognitive processing. But the main group that they're advertising to does end up being that higher age population. I think geriatric would be a good way to describe them. And so basically within that population, you've got the diseases like Alzheimer's disease and a lot of those other mental cognitive neurodegenerative approaches. And so the issue that we sort of have is that they've got this drug and so it's technically a drug is what it is. And so they're using it and they're marketing it and they're telling everybody that it works and it's great for this and that, but there's absolutely no data.
Oh man, there's data, if you can call it that. I mean, there's words on the page. Let's put it that way. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the journal of shopify.com/s/files, but that is literally the URL that you pull up when you go to Prevagen's website and pull up one of their main landmark studies for this medication or this supplement. Excuse me. I literally thought I was getting sent to the wrong link or something. I was like, oh no, this is really a Shopify link. This is very strange. But I guess give us some. You looked into some of the background information, because the initial idea, as far as its mechanism and whatnot, did have some good science behind it. But then they just kind of took that and then just ran with it.
Yeah. So it started off, I think, in 2007 is when they kicked it off. And apicorin itself is a calcium binding protein, and so there's been a lot of research into calcium and brain health and memory. Specifically the neuronal calcium homeostasis and calcium signaling. They regulate the multiple neuronal functions that we kind of see that are associated with those neurocognitive degenerative diseases. But there's a lot of different calcium channels, and there's a lot of different things that go on, especially like the voltage dependent calcium channels and things like that. And so you can't just say that we're going to go in and take care of this issue. And there's a lot of different approaches. There's a lot of different functions. If you know anything about biochemistry and receptors and all that kind of stuff, then you just know that there's no way that there's one drug that you can come in and fix everything for, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And the other, kind of aspect of it is, how is it going to get to the brain in the first place to bind said free calcium? That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this drug, way back when. I was like, if it's going to be actually binding up free calcium, which is thought to, lead to some of the damage, in the brain that leads to dementia or cognitive dysfunction in general, then it has to get past the blood-brain barrier and actually get to the site of action. And it's just kind of a big molecule. Like it's not something that's just going to easily get through the blood-brain barrier.
That's if it makes it into the blood after you take the capsule.
Yeah, because it's being taken orally. And I'm actually trying to pull it up right now because there's a study that they were. Well, I use the term study loosely here. There was a study that they were doing when they were first kind of looking at the the medication itself, because they were trying to see look at it's basically like allergenicity of the medication, and they were basically showing that it didn't cause any obvious like hypersensitivity reactions, things like that. But at the same time, they kind of proved that about 95% of the medication gets destroyed in the stomach within like the first minute. And so we don't have a lot of the medication getting through first pass metabolism in the first place, let alone then getting into the bloodstream, getting through the blood-brain barrier, and getting to the brain to start doing all this activity. So I don't know. It's something that just the general like thesis of the medication seems a little far-fetched.
It's a stretch, definitely. And I think that when you have that properly controlled homeostasis of the calcium signaling, I mean, it could support the normal brain physiology, and it could also like maintain the neuronal integrity and just long-term cell survival. But there's no defined mechanism for us to control that homeostasis, just like there's no defined regulatory mechanism for glucose homeostasis. We can't just fix it with one drug and say, all right, this is going to help your diabetes progress over time. You should be feeling better, these things, and then market it as a supplement at that, not even a drug with no trials, no data, no evidence. I mean, it's
a bit of a leap. So one of the things you'll hear them say is that the epichlorohydrin itself has actually been shown to be and proven to be effective at protecting hippocampal brain slices in oxygen glucose deprivation environment. So basically, they induced like a stroke. And they basically it's clinically trial blah 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 shows this. So the brain slices that were used in this study had significantly fewer dead, dying neurons, and they did have an increased inflammatory markers, cytokines, chemokine expressions, and it was interpreted as a protective preconditioning, if you will, before the insult or the stroke. Now, the issue that I have with this study that it should be pretty glaring is that the study in this case, the epichlorohydrin was administered directly onto the brain slices. We can't just say, okay, if the patient obviously has their brain intact and in their body they're alive, they're not actually removing the brain and cutting into slices. One's not going to expect those same effects, and that was done in rat brain slices, hippocampal brain slices, not in humans. On top of it, and it's something that we just we're not going to expect to get the same results because we're not administering it directly to the brain. We have to go through the body like we were just talking about. So that study, they always bring that up, and I'm just like, that is such a horrible example of how it's efficacious. I don't understand that at all.
That in vitro versus in vivo is so problematic, and everybody that's
tomato
in drug discovery, they know the difference. And so even with the concentrations that these air quote studies test in, I think 10 milligram daily versus placebo and things that we see, they come nowhere close to the air quotes target. Should I even say the target therapeutic dose?
Yeah, or something like that
of 40. But it's malarkey. What's the word?
Malarkey is a good one.
Malarkey.
Bringing that back. So, and did you mention that the actual discovery of this that won the Nobel Prize?
So the actual discovery of apocorin and acorin and I think it's green fluorescent protein are all groundbreaking discoveries that happened back in 2006 to 2008. And so basically this lab won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, right, in 2008 for the discovery of this green fluorescent protein, because they finally figured out what was making these jellyfish sort of fluoresce at night and doing these things and binding up the calcium. And so to take that mechanism and all of these sciences and pockets of knowledge from so many different areas of research and take a drug and put it on the air quotes market was a bit of a jump and a leap. I hope they stretched before they made that jump.
Yeah, they're going to pull something.
Yeah, it was patchy at best.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the other thing, if looking at just the overall efficacy, because I'm just going to pull up the website and we're going to kind of, first of all, what drives me crazy is I don't know how many times I have to mention that it's formulated with apocorin, which was originally discovered in jellyfish. Like that, I don't know why that's so awesome.
Natural.
Like
it's natural.
Okay, I guess. And then there's a huge, like a little asterisk by it. Apoquarin is safe and uniquely supports brain function. And then there's an asterisk for just kidding, because it obviously does not at all. But I'm just like, this is on the homepage of their website. Like, it's unbelievable, and people buy this stuff like it's going out of style. And we're gonna get to who's recommending this in a minute. So that really drove me crazy. So there's an option to learn more. Should we learn more, AJ?
Let's do it.
Dude, I want to learn more, because what is Prevagen? Originally discovered in jelly. Here we go again with the jellyfish thing. Again, jellyfish, being derived from that is extremely important. And did you know what's really interesting is it's actually not even like derived from jellyfish anymore. They use
it's
recombinant technology from E. coli and get it that way. So it's not even this whole
it's
like natural.
Gucci.
It's fake natural. It's natural with biochemistry that we do in a lab.
It's fake designer.
It's fake Gucci. That's pretty good. It's what do you call it? Bootleg Gucci.
No good.
But okay, so again, Prevagen. This is on the website. I'm reading verbatim. Prevagen has been clinically shown, depends on how you define clinically shown to help with mild memory loss associated with aging. And then again, an asterisk. I wonder why they have to put that. I can't believe they have to put the asterisks after every single statement. It's almost like the FDA is going to be really mad if they make these claims without it. And then they go in and say that they have, regular strength. Now they have chewable mixed berry flavor. Oh, finally. And then they have like a extra strength or whatever that's like 3 times the cost and does the same nonsense.
Chewable. So we want all of the 1% of the drug that was making it into the bloodstream.
Right. Now we want even less, because that's a good point. Yeah, we want as little as possible. That way it's just gypsy magic that gets into it makes the drug work. So they say, Is Prevagen safe? They have this whole cool question and answer, like frequently asked question section. So is Prevagen safe? You click on it and it goes, yes.
Next question.
All right, next question, please. No more questions. So 3 peer-reviewed safety studies have been conducted. Now, I will say overall, and if you look at Natural Medicine's database, it does seem to be pretty well tolerated overall, probably because it's like a placebo. But as far as there have been some case reports that the company that makes Prevagen did hire some physicians to represent them to really dive into the evidence and see if it was actually Prevagen that caused some of these issues that I'm going to mention. And it turns out, no, they're totally fine. It wasn't them. So that's good news. Plus, I wonder how much you get paid for that job. She'd be like, no, we looked into the science. But basically cardiovascular, there's been some case reports to cause hypertension, hypotension, angina, irregular heartbeat. But again, and even Natural Medicine's database does say it's unclear if these events were due to apoquarin or not. From a gastrointestinal standpoint, they say that it can cause some mild diarrhea, always fun, nausea and stomach pain, at least in one study. But again, mild, nothing too crazy. From a neurologic standpoint, it says that only a specific apoquarin product has been studied, obviously Prevagen, and then it says been reported to cause headaches, dizziness in one clinical study at a rate of 18. And then psychiatric says that it was reported to cause mild anxiety in one clinical study. Again, these are all referring to, I want to say at least the cardiovascular and the psychiatric were from the same study. But from an overall standpoint, I would say not too bad as far as side effects, probably.
And I would have to disagree with you there. I
think, perfect. I like it.
The FDA letter in 2012 that they sent, I think there was 2,000 plus adverse events that they just decided to selectively not report.
But
to include
those weren't from
seizures,
apoquarin,
strokes, worsening symptoms of multiple sclerosis, chest pains, tremors, fainting.
Listen,
curiosity as the side effect.
That is outlandish.
Memory impairment and confusion.
Wait, isn't that supposed to fix this?
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't report that.
They didn't bind. Oh, it's so weird. They didn't bind enough calcium, I guess.
Strange. Yeah, they didn't take enough.
You got to take more. You got to up that dose. That's why they had the extra strength version now.
Dose.
It's only $75 a 30-day supply. And will insurance pay for it? Of course not, because they're not going to pay for nonsense. All right. So next question: how long will it take to feel results? Depends on how much you believe the placebo effect. In a double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial, subgroups, remember that phrase, of individuals who were cognitively normal. Cognitively normal.
If you describe yourself, if you feel like you're normal, then
I would say I'm cognitively normal with a potential for cognitively above average. Probably not. But like, okay, so this is for a drug for people who have mild cognitive impairment. And yet the people who really got the most benefit were the people who are cognitively normal at baseline. So that's good. My antibiotic that I use is really good for me as long as I'm not sick. So that's, it is what it is. Okay, or I'll give them this, or mildly impaired. Not really defining what that means, but okay. Taking just one just one. You don't even need a lot of it. Just a touch. Just one Prevagen of extra strength. Over 90 days and $300 later. Improves certain aspects of cognitive function, once again, asterisk. Certain aspects. Like, what?
Maybe their
don't worry, and we're
was
gonna
broken, and that asterisk just keeps finding its way back in there.
Maybe it's part of like the space bar. That's a good thought. That's probably what it is. Is a prescription needed? Of course not, because why would it be? This is nonsense. Can Prevagen be taken with medications? As with any new supplement regimen, you may want, let's say, please do. You may want to talk with your doctor before beginning Prevagen use. Okay. Are there any side effects? If you're concerned with any side effects, you may want to talk to your doctor. Wait, you're the website. What do you mean you're concerned about side effects? If you're concerned about side effects, then talk to your doctor. But aren't you going to tell us if there's side effects?
We're not concerned about them.
Yeah, they're not.
You shouldn't be.
They shouldn't. Yeah, okay. Well, look at the reviews. These people, look how happy they are. I'm like a genius now. They're basically the Elon Musk of the community because they've taken Prevagen.
For the right price, I'd leave a good review as well.
No, dude, you can't
We
do
had a
that.
question about that study, though. Why did they exclude patients with dementia from those?
Because
call them
they
subgroups.
Because they didn't want it to be completely obvious that they were just making stuff up. That's a good idea though. Let's go through the study that was their claim to fame. Because I'm going to read a funny line from the study. Anything you want to mention about it initially though?
The games that they're playing, I actually went through. If you go on their website, they've got these games that you get to play as well. One of the games is Brain Teaser Tuesday is what today's game is.
Ooh.
And it's how many...
Did you win?
No, I didn't.
No, shoot.
Hey, but the second time
Because you're not
playing
taking
it,
Prevagen.
right, I got to go take
This
it.
podcast sponsored by Prevagen.
How many...
What a plot twist! You find out we took a bunch of money from them, and we just rip on them the whole episode.
How many of the following languages do you know how to say hello in? Play now. Of course, you're going to get your baseline. I think if I played it again in 8 days, I'm going to do a little bit better because they tell you the answers at the very end.
Put this in front of your face, AJ, so we can all hear you.
They tell you
Perfect.
the answers
Yeah,
at the
see,
very
there we
end.
go. They tell you the answers, and then you just, so you could improve based on the fact that you've played it before? Huh.
Strange.
I wonder if you were going to maybe, I don't know, do a bar graph of your progress taking Prevagen, if your score would go up.
Probably more if I took Prevagen.
That goes without saying. But I'm just saying, even with your non-Prevagen, brain motor going, which is obviously a huge disadvantage.
I don't know if it'd be clinically significant,
Probably
but with
not. With
Prevagen, maybe it would
instantly.
No, it wasn't clinically significant.
Let's look at the bar graph that's no longer in their on their advertisement, which is my favorite design of all time. We'll come back to that, but so this is something called the Madison Memory Study. It's a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study designed to examine the effect of apoquarin on cognitive function in older adults. So these were community-dwelling participants, in other words, they just lived in your neighborhood, were randomized into either the experimental group or control group, hence placebo-controlled. The participants in the control group received capsules containing only white rice flour. That's a bummer. Participants in the experimental group received capsules containing apoquarin, 10 milligrams, and white rice flour. I don't know why they needed that too. Capsules were size and color matched. Participants were instructed to take one capsule daily for the duration of said study. All right, so they were given a slew of cognitive measurement tests. We have the International Shopping List. Interesting. That's one for verbal learning. They have the International Shopping List Delayed Recall, which is one that obviously works on memory. We have the Graton Maze Learning, GML, executive function. We have detection, DET, which is psychomotor function. There was one called the one back, which is working memory. That sounds like a dumb test. And then two back, if you're really, if you moved on to the expert level, then that's also working memory. So they have all these cognitive tests. Now, how do these translate into real life? Hard to say.
I wonder why they didn't use any of the validated tests for
like the mini mental exam or anything like that. It's almost like, again, if you just do these a few times, that you'll improve just from seeing it's like if you take an IQ test multiple times in a row, probably going to improve your score a little bit.
I got to do more research.
Maybe not.
Got to do more research.
Maybe not. So, you know what? I'm just going to skip to the punchline. Let's read the result. This is their study it's not published because it's on Shopify.com, but it's available on the internet, so it's kind of published. Just not anything that's even remotely in the realm of peer-reviewed. But results, and I quote, "While no statistically significant results were observed over the entire study population, comma, no, what do you need a comma for? That's no, you don't need
wait, there's more.
Yeah. Let's dig ourselves out of this hole that we just put ourselves in. Like, you don't need a comma there, period. Okay, and let's wrap it up. Let's go at the end of the study. But no, they continue. There were statistically significant results in the 88-0 through 1 and the 88-0 through 2 subgroups. These subgroups contained individuals with either minimal or no cognitive impairment." Wait, I thought this was to help maintain cognitive function in patients who were already having decline. In brain health, what good is this thing if you got to catch it? It's like that, even that new Alzheimer's medication that was like very controversial. Like they're like, oh, if it's mild, it'll be okay. But if anything past that, like, don't even bother. This is like, no, you have to be completely cognitively normal with maybe minimal, which they don't define, minimal impairment. And then, but if not, I mean, that's obviously we're not going to get statistical difference even in those patients. But if you look at the subgroups, in other words, like the subgroups is in like the treatment group at baseline compared to the treatment group at the end of the study got improved, based on their scores of these things. But they just could have just got better at the actual test itself. That doesn't mean anything. That is insanity. I mean, they literally say, and they publish their the comparative of placebo versus the treatment group. It's literally just nothing significant across the board. It's crazy. Like, am I blind? What am I missing?
I think you're misunderstanding what they mean by treat and prevent.
Right. Okay. Maybe. Okay. I'm listening.
And so that was another thing with the FDA. You can't call it a dietary supplement because you're not supplementing anything that would be in our diet.
Right.
But it's not a drug.
Well, unless you eat a lot of jellyfish sushi. I've had that. It's pretty disgusting. But I haven't gotten any bioluminescence.
Where did you get that?
Bushido's in West Ashley.
Yeah, me and Cole don't shop there.
Cole's definitely not shopping there because they charge you an extra $1 for the shrimp or whatever. But you'd like it. It's pretty good. They have like the sea urchin, like really weird. It's like the sushi that says market value on it. So you're like, shoot, I shouldn't do this. But then you got to try it anyway.
Do you think they'd give me apicorin?
Sushi? It's going to cost you. They just got a bottle of Prevagen and sprinkle it on your sushi. Yeah, it's going to make you not smarter, but that's fine. Like if you look at their the test, they actually break it down where they show the p-values of like the placebo, which some of the placebo group actually improved, which is very interesting.
Impressive.
Which all have, and then like the apoquarin from day 0 to day 90. Yeah, there were some significant changes, and some of which weren't significant at all. But it's just like, what are you doing? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would even report this part. I mean, I guess they have to report something because they got no statistical difference in the way you'd actually look at the data. But yeah, so they really didn't show anything. And the best part ever is they used to have this like bar graph. Now, when they got kind of like hauled into court because the FTC was like, well, what are you doing? You're making false claims and things like that. One of the things in their actual, and you can pull up the Exhibit A's and the documents from their investigation. But if on page 2 of their documents, they have this like bar graph where it's just like it says 8 days, 30 days, and 90 days, and there's just like, and it's just next to it, it just says percent of something. You're like, percent of what?
IQ.
Just
smartness.
Yeah, just way smarter, dude. Look at, I'm like, this is like the Limitless pill. I'm Bradley Cooper, basically. If you did, overnight, I can speak new languages. People like me for a change. It's just like, what are you doing? Oh, this drives me insane.
That's what I love about self-reporting.
dude, we need to start doing. We just need to make a product and be like, yeah, look at our graphs, and just like really deck it out with graphs and just that mean nothing. We'll just have percentages next to it. Yeah, look, you can improve 78%. Improve
R
what?
squared equals
Don't
1.
worry about it. Yeah, the most perfect slope ever seen in statistic history.
Looks good. Looks
It does.
good to me.
It does look good. It's amazing that they don't have that on their label anymore. It's almost like the FDA was like, get that off there.
Or else.
Or else. But yeah, there's like this whole document you can go through. It's really funny, and they actually have like copies of their commercials, which are hilarious. They show like stuff like screenshots from the website that's been redone and all that. But they actually used to have like all the graphs and stuff from the studies, and they talk them up and show how effective it is. It's just with a side of ugh. It's terrible. And then they go into the protein chemistry, and they hang on, apocorn is capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier and the GI barrier. But where is it?
Says who? Prove it.
Oh, that's because this was taken out by the FTC investigation.
FDA is not liking that.
So it says this is a quote from their original website. It says, when cerebrospinal fluid, also known as CSF, thank you for that, and blood plasma samples were taken from a population of dogs, okay, right on, to which apocorn was orally administered. These samples showed quantifiable evidence that the supplement was present in the nervous and circulatory systems of the animals. What does that mean? Clinically?
So dogs have a circulatory system, and humans do as well.
Do they?
So, yeah, I think that's what they were thinking.
Also, what does that mean? It was present. Was it a picogram?
It was there.
Okay. So it worked, but the study should have didn't work. Okay. No more questions? Got it. Using a specifically designed enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, also known as a ELISA. Why don't you say got it. Linked to a electrochemoluminescent assay. They're just trying to sound like they know what they're talking about. There's like also like what freshman chemistry that you do in undergrad, like just they got their little electrophoresis tables out, like
for people like me.
Yeah. It was also demonstrated that apocorn levels in dog CSF and plasma increase proportionally as a function of time. Okay, these data indicate that apocorn is capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier and the gastrointestinal barrier via the presence in dog CSF. You just said that same thing. Respect. Okay, who cares if let's say that it was detectable in the most minute amount? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean it was efficacious. It doesn't mean that it could be any sort of clinical relevance whatsoever.
I wonder why they did that in dogs and not in mice, like everybody else does.
They probably did it with like the couple dogs they had. Their employees just were like, yeah, use my dog. He wants to be in a study.
For the right price.
Published, kind of, on Shopify. But I mean, it just goes on. This whole like document is insane. Like when you read back some of their old, here they go from jellyfish, and just a whole freaking thing on jellyfish. Like anybody cares. And then it just goes all these reported. Then it just goes into these fake testimonies from these people that are smiling way too, happy to be alive on this stinking website. So I feel like they may have gotten some cash flow doom under the table. We don't have any evidence, but if I was a betting man.
No evidence, but in the time that we've been sitting here, I managed to max out the maximum score on the brain games.
Did you? That's
website.
Incredible. Multitasking, and you haven't even started your regimen.
So I'm going to tell you, I took a Prevagen before I got here today in the car before I came up.
That explains it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
speaking of the half-life, what is the half-life?
I don't even know. Tell me.
It couldn't be more than 3 hours in the blood. Let me see. It could be a little bit longer in the it'd be the endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah, but how does it get there?
Dude, it gets there. It gets there. It gets there in dogs. So don't. Again, you're asking way too many questions.
I don't think it can.
So yeah, it's just like it's one thing after the other, and this is the part that really bothered me. Nothing against this organization. I don't know them personally or whatsoever. Whatever. But on Prevagen's website, it says, "Hang on, let me go back to this homepage here." I'm just reading off the website. It says, Prevagen selected as the #1 pharmacist recommended memory support brand in 2022 Pharmacy Times annual survey for 4th year in a row. What? First of all, who the heck are you surveying?
Wasn't me.
Yeah, I definitely didn't guess. And it says, Pharmacy Times, the leading publication for pharmacists in the nation?
I don't know about that one.
That is a huge. That's almost as big of a leap as Sam Prevagen works. I mean, no offense to Pharmacy Times, I'm sure they're great, But to say that they're the leading, I don't.
What about Pharmacist Letter?
I mean, or like, I don't know, the New England Journal of Medicine, like JAMA, those like, oh, because it's not direct, doesn't have the word pharmacist in it, like it doesn't count. Like, what are you talking about? We're supposed to be the drug experts, and instead people are just like, I recommend this one. And they give you a list of things to, like, it's like a multiple choice thing, so you have to pick one.
You got to look through the fine print here. I've got the rest of the supplements pulled up. Number 1 is Prevagen. It's 63%.
Astounding 63.
Number 2, Nature's Bounty Ginkgo biloba.
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 No, not Rocky Balboa. Different. That's different.
Number 3 at 5%, Focus Factor. I've actually taken that as well.
I have too. It
Himalaya Mind Care.
Gives you a good stomach ache.
And at 5%, Brain Strong. What is that? The Alpha Brain?
No. Alpha Brain's the like the Joe Rogan.
That's the
brand.
stuff that works.
Well,
no, it doesn't work either.
Unless he wants to sponsor it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, at least that's got like some adaptogens and some stuff. I don't think that probably works for that very good either. But this is, first of all, Brain Strong. Try harder with the name. And then look at the next one under that, Brain Gear. What? Dude, what are you talking? Give it a rest with these names. This is terrible. You need to get 0% because of that stupid name.
They had a third grader name these drugs.
Oh, yeah. So that means, like, I would love to know, pharmacists are coming, like our community pharmacists that are out there, like somebody comes and you're answering the survey. Are you literally like, you're answering the survey based on just what you've seen, like buying trends when people, are buying stuff at the pharmacy, or this is literally what you recommend? Because then at that point, like, why are you recommending this? Like, you just saw the advertisement as well. You're a PharmD or, at least a registered pharmacist, and you're like, no further research necessary. Let's go. That blows my mind. Like, that's this. How can this be? Just like, and then, I can't even. That drives me crazy. That really bothers me. Pharmacists are just like, it's the number one recommend. Now, I don't know if Pharmacy Times just put that in there and who knows, they asked 6 people. Maybe. I don't know. But it does say 4 years in a row. Like, first of all, who in 2022 is answering surveys? Like, who are those people? But second of all, like, this is crazy. Like, in the answer should be 0 of these. 0 of these. Do puzzles, do things that read, get things that do your mind or get your mind working, to think logically and do tasks. That's like one of the only types of things that can maybe slow cognitive decline. And even our like acetylcholinesterase inhibitors in our prescription product, those are super limited on their efficacy. And a lot of times, you might improve your mini mental status exam, or you might get a little bit of a bump from baseline and improve your score. But again, is that clinically relevant? When it comes to this patient dealing with Alzheimer's, I mean, it's one of those things. At this point, we don't have any great products, and we certainly don't have these products over the counter that can treat. And I feel like it's one of those things. You're dealing with patients who obviously are in a very tough part of their life dealing with. I mean, cognitive decline's got to be a horrible thing to deal with. And they're looking for something, looking for hope. And you got people who are supposed to be drug experts recommending this stuff with 0. Like, I can't understand that. We have no data on drug-drug interactions, so we have no idea what it interacts with or what it potentially interacts with long-term, whatever. It's just like, what are we doing?
Seemingly preying on vulnerable populations.
Sure honestly. Does seem like that. And they sell billions. Like, they've made billions of dollars off the stuff.
And honestly, we can admit and we can understand that the calcium dyshomeostasis does escalate with time.
Sure.
And it will eventually lead to like neuronal loss. But this drug doesn't do that. It doesn't establish calcium homeostasis. We know that properly controlled, it can help support natural brain physiology and things, but this drug doesn't do that, or this supplement, this over-the-counter supplement. I'm sorry for using the word drug.
Yeah.
This supplement
it's better
doesn't
than
do
now
that.
You've apologized.
And if it does, there's no evidence. There's no proof.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we use as a baseline or standard. What kind of podcast is this?
Evidence-based medicine, I think.
That'll do it.
Well, it's
double check.
It's loosely based on that. It's crazy, man. I don't get. So that's my 2 cents on Prevagen. I'm obviously, if you can't tell, not a huge fan. It's definitely not something that, it's appalling to me that this is the number one pharmacist recommended. To me, that means that the people who answered that did literally 0 research 4 years in a row. Get the heck out of here. It's just, that's crazy.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the survey next year.
Do some more looking, please. I'm ordering. I'm doing nothing but I'm gonna just make 1,000 emails, and I'm just answering Brain Gear on every single one of them. Brain Gear is gonna be the next best product. I'm gonna be on Shark Tank with it. Like, you can just take this. You'll be super good at answering these random tests that have nothing to do with anything, and your working memory will be better.
And it's not too late.
But look at my bar graphs.
It's not too late for Quincy Bioscience to sponsor us. Not too late.
And yeah,
that's a caveat.
Oh yeah, shameless honestly, just hit us up in the email. The show, it's in the show notes if you guys want to, throw some bread our way. Hey, any type of attention is good.
Any publicity is good publicity.
There you go. You're welcome, by the way. Then the one thing, okay, to be fair, I will give them this. On their website, they have one the area where you can click on called Brain Healthy Living, where they have like brain health tips, brain health recipes, brain games, things like that. Cool. That sounds good. That's very helpful for, people looking for healthy, recipes, things like that. That sounds great. That's awesome that they're doing that for, giving away that stuff for free. It's just all the other stuff that, is associated with the product that I have a problem with.
Literally everything else.
Yeah. And they have Prevagen rewards. That's what
frequent buyer.
Frequent buyer of Prevagen. So you've bought so many bottles that now you have reward points to cash in and get what? Oh, more bottles. Oh. AJ, what are we going to do?
We're going to thank our actual sponsors, Pearls.
Pearls, yes, our actual sponsor, who did pay us to talk nicely about that. No, big thanks to Pearls. As always, they have been a tremendous help. They were our first big sponsor and our main sponsor of the podcast. And so big shout out to them. If you have not checked out the app or their website, they're adding stuff every month, sometimes even multiple times per month. And go to Pearls, that's pyrls.com/CoreConsultRx so that they knew that we sent you. You can sign up for a free account, check out the app, peruse around a little bit. You'll get some free charts and some other things that'll help with your pharmacotherapy journey. And then if you do like it, there's the paid version that'll unlock all the features, which is definitely a good option to try out as well. They have a lot of really good stuff. And yeah, I do too. I really do. Whether they paid me or not, I do like. That's why we were so quick to jump on with them, because I really do like the app.
They did just add this drug interactions monitor as well.
They did, yes. So they have a whole drug interaction monitor, and they have Pearls Cast podcast, little mini episodes that you can listen to that have like clinical Pearl, episodes of like 5 minutes or so. So really, you can listen while you brush your teeth and get some knowledge, get your day started on the right foot with pharmacotherapy. So definitely thanks to them, and check them out if you haven't already. The link will be in the show notes. And I'm sorry that was their very more of a rant type episode, but it needed to be done. We were wanting to do that for a while.
Get it off our chest.
Yeah, we felt like that was going to be fun. So, if you want more lecture style, more us just goofing around, check out the Patreon. We got a bunch of new stuff on there. New lectures getting added at least once a week. And we're also doing pharmacotherapy practice questions as well, and lots of good content on there. It's like $3 a month or $30 for the year. You get thousands of PowerPoint slides.
Just do what I do: buy it, download it, cancel it.
Yeah, if you need to, if you can't afford your Chipotle or whatever, do it, bootleg it. That's fine. It's all good. I get it.
It's a pain though when you download something else and you add it, and now I got to spend another $3 to get it.
Right, and then I'm keeping that $3 too. That's mine. No, but the money that all goes to support the show and buying us equipment and things like that. So those of you who have signed up for Patreon, we definitely appreciate that. And we're getting ever so close to episode 200. Still got to figure out what we're doing. Nothing like waiting till the last minute. But we got some cool stuff I think on the horizon. I'm gonna keep you guys listening, and we're gonna do our best. But definitely appreciate all the support and everybody hanging with us for this long. We will keep on trying to bring you guys good content. If Cole ever gets done with vacation, we'll have the whole team back together. But until then, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Have a good one.